Welcome to Eat Your Backyard. This is a YouTube channel where you can learn all about how to make your yard into a tropical fruit jungle, or maybe a northern fruit jungle. And in this video, I want to answer a viewer request. This is a new viewer, Jordan Williams, thank you. I asked for some feedback, and I got some from Jordan. He's a new subscriber to Eat Your Backyard, and by the way, if you are new to this channel, I would love to share everything I know about growing things with you. Like this Jamaican cherry, or as we call them in Florida, strawberry tree. This is part of a series that I'm doing on the channel where I'm growing 50 pots worth of different plants here, many of them fruits and so on, but you'll tune into that series for that. Today I'd like to take a tour around my yard and point out some things which I think are the most tastiest. Okay, so let's get started. We'll start over here. Okay, so we have a nice Dracaena island here where we just recently, in one of the videos, took out some banana pups that were growing there. You see I left just a couple of the mini banana pups. These are Cavendish dwarf bananas in there, and I'm going to let those get a little more leafy and then I'll transplant them out. I transplanted their brothers and sisters over here. There they are, 1, 2, 3. And now they make a nice addition to my Cavendish banana grove. And by the way, even though this is the first, I'm going to go all the way around the perimeter of the yard, since this is the first thing I covered, it's surprising that it's also one of the very best. Cavendish dwarf bananas are incredible, and we'll look at the more full-size version when we get over to the fence, but as you can see, they're pretty resilient. And they're a dwarf kind of banana, so they're not the kind of banana that's going to end up being 15 feet, 20 feet tall like my other muses that I've got. Okay, so first we'll move on to a very reliable fruit tree. I'm going to back up so you can get a better perspective of this. I'm getting blinded by the sun. But this is the Tommy Atkins mango. It's a very, very reliable producer. You can see it's well past the season when it will fruit, but it still looks beautiful. Vigorous grower too. I mean, if you want a mango tree that's just going to be a hardy, pest-resistant, vigorous grower, Tommy Atkins is the choice. Now, if you want a mango tree that's going to be the most delicious mango you ever had, my opinion, don't want to offend any mango aficionados, of which there are many on the internet, but it's not the top mango. I don't think it's going to make anybody's list for the top mango. It's a good mango. It's not much fiber. It's good. It tastes like a mango. It's just not epic. And mango aficionados, you know exactly what I mean by epic. Oh, so good. The fruit of kings. Mangoes. Now, what do we have here? I'm sure you can notice. It's a star fruit tree. Very distinctive. This is September in Florida, and we're getting fruit. Now, this will fruit again. Certainly. And you can see here's a ripe one. You can tell because it's much more orange. Look at that. Oh, now when they get to this, oh, I thought that was a spider. Now, those of you who are new to Eat Your Backyard, you have to keep watching to see when I get bitten by a spider. I had a near miss not that long ago, but Florida horticultural practices involves spider stings, I'm afraid. The wrong spider, you don't want to be stung by. But anyway, this, when it gets to this stage here, starfruit, by the way, carambola is what it's also called, very reliable fruit tree. Sorry, I couldn't resist a sniff. And how you know is the nose knows. The nose knows. It's very good. But the thing with starfruit is, although they're very good and very sweet, it's a lighter fruit. And so it's not that intense, tart, powerful flavor of a mango. But it's good and reliable. And by the way, this thing will fruit sometimes 3 times a year. Most of the time 2 times. One time about now and then one time in January. Christmas time. December, January time frame. And that's why it's good to pick them and cut them into little stars as decorations on your holiday table or whatever. Now this is old lemon tree that was rescued from certain death by salty irrigation, and that's one of the problems that we suffer from here beachside in Florida. But as you can see, there's no shortage of lemons. Now, this is not a healthy citrus tree by any stretch of the imagination. Look at this, with all the, leaf problems, and it's just kind of a, really, I think the scientific term is it's just a yucky tree. You know, it's a yucky tree filled with delicious fruit, so I love it. And by the way, I could make the leaves look more pretty. I could do all kinds of things. But the fruit is still very good. It's more than enough fruit for us. We do fertilize it, so we keep it healthy enough. But we're not going to fight the endless battle here. And I'm always having to trim it back, which is no problem at all. But to trim it back, just to bush it up and form it. All your fruit trees, as you build your fruit forest, you should be very conscious of spacing and height. You're painting your yard, right? Sometimes I say be the Bob Ross of your yard. Paint it structurally, right? And have fun. But be conscious of a few simple facts. One is you're going to have to be able to pick the fruit with your hand from the ground, maybe. Is that something you want to be able to do? That's desirable, but you know, as soon as I say that, I look up here to this papaya tree, which is literally 25 feet up there. So that's when you have to get a picker. I've got another video on that. Okay, so that's the lemon tree. Reliable. We're making lemonade, folks, in somewhere like January. Okay, and the other thing about the fruit forest as I walk around here is that as you plan your fruit forest, you want to also think of what plants and fruit produce when. And make it so that you have enough fruit that it fills all the gaps so that you always have a pickable situation. And that was a goal I set in my fruit forest. You might want to set it for yours, to have a year-round fruit production. And I wanted to, you know, I have 4 kids, and so a big part of that was to make this backyard into a nice little paradise of play time and fun and novelty. And we were able to create that because, yeah, every time any of my kids ever had a friend over, the first thing they want to do is run out here and see what's ripe and just start eating stuff. It's so fun. So more than anything, like, you can learn all the technical names of everything and get all kinds of knowledge. But to me, hear a little thunder. To me, it's more about the love of the journey and how you share it with those people that you love in your life. So, okay, as we move along here, we're into a kind of eclectic wish-wash of various things. Oh, there's the What You Got Growing On series. You might want to subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, then you can learn about those. Okay, so I made this into an edible wall against my southern fence here. About a year ago I set into doing this. I have several videos on the channel if you're interested in looking back at that. And I also, looking at this corner, I was kind of confused. This is still, you know, rather junkyardish, right? This part, but it's a work in progress. No worries. We've got a requisite crab traps. We've got an old surfboard. We've got one soft top surfboard. So, you know, we're building a kind of theme there, which is like beach junkyard. And then when you get to this, it's the What You Got Growing On series. So that's incredibly interesting to everybody. And, ooh, I shouldn't show you what's in there because you should learn with great suspense as the series comes out. Okay, so here we are. The Yucca. The Yucca. This might be a long video. I got a lot of fruit trees. Look at this. You see that Yucca? There's one called a Spanish bayonet that is very sharp. This one is not that one. This is the soft tip, therefore it's nice and friendly. But realize that if you were to take your hand and run it down here real hard, you would cut your hand open. Certainly it's got a little, you know, it's just like a little saw edge on there. You can barely see, but you got to be careful of that. So, but other than that, it's not going to poke you in the skin. And if you've ever been stabbed by a Spanish bayonet, as I have, you will seldom want to repeat it. Okay, here's another edible, little known edible, the hibiscus. You can actually eat the flowers. This is a single petaled red hibiscus, and as you can see, it does not have any flowers on it currently, but when they bloom out, you could eat them. But same with the yucca. That's what you eat, is those petals, little white petals. They taste like almonds. What a weird thing. Okay, now here's where my banana pups go to become a new banana tree. I made a Cavendish dwarf banana corner, and we're going to see if I can get this whole video in before these foreboding skies just collapse on us. You can hear the Florida summertime storms coming in on us hot. Okay, so in the process of transplanting all of these pups, with the exception of one. I planted one at a local nursery, which I always prefer to get them local if I can, but the real way to get a variety of pups is to go online, and I have links down in the description if you're curious. You can get, like, I think I list 6 different varieties. There's a lot more that you can get online, but this dwarf Cavendish works very well for my area. They're about the sweetest banana ever. You remember I showed you the pups at the other area there. Well, this is what they look like when they get a little older, and you can see even though I've only started this a year ago, you know, I get asked a lot, how long until the fruit comes into fruition, so to speak? And you know, this one, less than a year. But of course it had already been growing for about probably 6 months prior to that. But one of the cool things is that this Cavendish, when they're very young like this, they have this variegation in the leaves, which is excellent. You can see as they get older, they lose it. Right here, this one's just the last hurrah, so to speak, but they get that just regular green banana. But this is going to be a very good one here. Why do I plant? Okay, I talked about height and structure. Let's talk about location and how those things relate. This is the southeastern, so there's the ocean, that way. That's south, that's north. This area the sun tracks across about like this in the winter, and then it's almost directly overhead. We're not on the equator, but we're closer to it, so it really is tall, meaning that this gets some shade. Everywhere else in the yard really doesn't get much. So I plant these here because I want the sun coming in this way into my yard not to be blocked. Sunlight is very important, and I've managed a few things with the sunlight already this summer. I didn't talk much about this, but this is my loquat tree. Okay, we'll move on from that. Sorry, I can't move on. The one more thing. This is sugarcane. At one point I had 5 varieties of sugarcane. Purple, red, green, striped. It was nuts. I love it, but it was a big grove, and I've narrowed it back just to this Florida green sugarcane. And that's chewing cane. I have tons of videos on that on the channel, but that is a sweet, delicious treat. Okay, so moving right along, I was talking about the management of the canopy. Well, this loquat had gotten very big, so this year I came in and took out some of the wood. I took out some wood, and this is something you'll see you know, fruit orchards do, is they take out wood and leave more branches because branches produce the fruit. So as you can see up here, I took out that big branch there, and then I took out some other big branches, and what I did was create a hole in the canopy for this grass to grow back in, because it was getting completely shaded by this canopy here. You really can't have complete shade and grass. You have to pick, but I kind of want both, so I want to let the light come through. Oh, isn't that interesting? Now let's move on to this one as a target of opportunity as we go through the world tour of the Eat Your Backyard experience. So by the way, if you've stayed this long, you are a source of my undying gratitude, and I appreciate you tremendously. Thank you. Okay, so this is the Barbados. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the Surinam cherry. Yeah, and you can see it has got my cherries mixed up. There's this cool bark. We'll just fade right in there. The Surinam cherry is a reliable plant. I've actually got a link to a black variety down in the description if you're interested in all kinds of other stuff, seeds too, to all kinds of things. But anyway, this cherry tree is right next to a very problematic mango tree for my yard because it didn't like salt spray on the leaves at all. And this is an Edward mango. So little Edward mango. And sometimes it's good to have a mango that's not like crazy grower, like the Tommy Atkins is becoming, and the one behind it here, the Hayden, has already fully become, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So this little Glen mango is, Edward mango, has been slow to get up above the sprinklers. Now that it's above it, we'll see what it does. It produced some flowers this year. It's never produced a fruit for me. Okay, so running through, here's another tree-formed Surinam cherry that I talked about. The black and then the red are two nice varieties. We got the Longan, I almost said lychee, the Edward mango, and then next to it we have another Surinam cherry, a Barbados cherry. Now Barbados cherries are the highest vitamin C content of any fruit, and this is where I'm going to tell you, ding ding ding, this is another one of my favorite tasting fruits. It tasted very good. It's almost like a starburst, a cherry starburst. If you've had that candy, then you know about what this tastes like. It's, again, grown for vitamin C production, which is pretty weird. Now here's a unique one, and look at the ovate. This one's been chewed up by caterpillars a little bit. Again, we can put on pesticides to deal with this kind of thing, or we can just kind of tolerate it, which is what I do. This is a chocolate pudding tree, a black sapote chocolate pudding tree, and that is a great variety of novelty fruit tree. You can see it looks tremendous, with the darker bark and the shape. You can see all the trees in my yard. It's interesting. Over they get blown this way, and that's because, look at that. See that? That's because of all the the hurricanes and tropical storms. Over and over and over, it gets blown by the sea breezes. Anyway, so that's chocolate pudding tree. I've got lots of videos on that as well on the channel, but that's one of my faves. Now behind here, I've got a wind wall to the Atlantic sea breeze of dracaenas, tree-formed dracaenas that I've grown over the years, which are doing quite good, crotons, etc. But here we are. What is this gigantic trunk? If you know the channel, you know, but if you're new, I hope you will enjoy this introduction to these giant Hawaiian papayas, which, to be quite honest, are really not that great. Unless you love papayas so much, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good. There's only so many papayas I can eat. I don't know. They're great fruit, but, well, I think I've eaten so many. Now this is the Hayden mango. Now this is, again, ding ding ding, one of my favorite fruit trees, and it is just a beast. It's gotten so huge, and here's the problem. We don't want huge trees next to 220 volts of fine electricity. We don't want that, so I got to constantly keep it back, and it's like a huge worry bead for me. But when it produces that fruit, I'm not going to say it's worth dying for, but I'm going to say it's pretty good as mangoes go. I give it my top ranking. Okay, now let's look here. Again, everything you're seeing in this video is the result of a 20-year journey that I'm hoping you will join me on right now to make that fruit forest. Look what we got growing here. You ever seen one of these? Every time I see one, it's like the first time I've ever seen it. It's so bizarre looking, but it is a banana flower. And I'm actually going to make a video. I had another viewer request to make a video to show eating the banana flower, so I think I'll eat that one. So if you want to see somebody eat a banana flower, well, then you've come to the right place. If you want to see somebody eat a banana, well, just buy a banana and look in the mirror as you eat it. But look at this. That's what you can get when you get to the Banana Grove Level 5 experience. You have year-round bananas. So when I get this banana harvested, now this one comes in, you can see these are smaller. That one's about ready to go. I'm going to make some chocolate-covered banana babies. All right, and then here we are. Going back into the forest, more. Look at this. Now, I don't know if you know much about banana flowers, but you're not going to be able to unknow this. Rubbery, weird flower, and you can see this interesting kind of pattern that's on there. These are places where little banana flowers were and fell off. These were the banana flowers that set. They're bananas. And then these are what's happening in the flowers. So these are like little tiny banana flower babies. Look at this. Have you ever sniffed a banana flower? Well, you can look at one here, and I can tell you it's almost completely scentless. But you can eat this. You have to boil it, though. Now, I once took a small bite out of it, and it tasted like a banana peel. So that was the moment, and then it passed, as I definitely didn't eat it any further. So I'm going to try to boil it and eat it, and we'll see what happens. But that is just, if you would think that was fake if you saw that in a in a picture. Like, what is that? It's so weird. But each one of these, one of the things that children love to do and adults alike, is to peel back. Look at this. We're going to have the banana flower rights people up in arms over this. Look at this. Ripping banana petals off. Oh, that makes great mulch. There you go. Pretty interesting. To me at least, but I have a weird sense of interest. Okay, so there's the bananas. Now as we come out of the banana grove, which is spacious and expansive, goes all the way back in there, and there's also Monstera fruit back there, which is interesting, and another Barbados cherry and some more bananas, but that's kind of like a no man's land, a banana-y goodness. And then when you get here, you have a brown turkey fig, which looks dead or diseased at this time of the year always. And do not worry, do not fret. You can see it's even trying to come back. Trying to come back. You're not coming back. You're not going to come back this year. But it might try another couple spurts. It's almost like it's confused. It doesn't realize it's in Florida. Or Florida confuses it because it stays hot for so long. But I don't know. That's such a cool leaf. They're actually fuzzy and they have a strong scent to them. But this is also one of my favorite fruits. Everybody should have a fig tree in their yard. These they get a kind of like fungus on them, I guess, where the leaves fall off in the summer, but the fruit's always good. And again, I don't provide any kind of pesticide on them. That way I know I'm not eating pesticide. So there you go. That's the whole deal. And since you stayed to the very end, and I appreciate you so much, look at this. This is a cutting I grabbed when I was in California years ago, probably 15 years ago. That's the flower. Just a tiny little, it was a tiny little pup off a agave that was growing. And I grabbed a few of them and I threw them in the yard and they all grew. And this is one that grew from one that grew. So I planted them and it looks like they take about 10 years to achieve this flower, but you can see how beautiful that is and that it just adds an element of interest to your yard, certainly. But the other element is the element of really sharp points that can hurt people. So you want to trim those off. Now most of them I've already got them trimmed off. You know, you can see that I've trimmed off the edges everywhere I can, but then some get away from you like this one. You don't want a kid climbing this tree and getting poked. I've gotten rid of most of the thorny things in my life, but this one is one of my guilty pleasures. But you can see when it flowers. A century plant is another good example of this. I'm going to go try to find one to film for the Eat Your Backyard channel. But you can see that when it flowers, it's amazing. And what will happen, actually, little bonus, is when you have one of these and it flowers, and then these things will actually turn into little agave plants. And then you can just pluck them off and plant them. I've actually got one growing over in the corner. If it was just a flower that came off one I had over here, chopped it down, just threw it over there, and now I got like 15 of these growing in the corner. I can just put them in a pot. By the way, they look very good in pots. Easier to kind of keep the points down on them too, but you got to be careful. This is a plant that can hurt you. Okay, so thanks for watching Eat Your Backyard. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, please do. If you have any ideas for videos, please let me know in the comments. If you have a favorite fruit tree in this yard, please also let us know. Just let us know. Thanks for watching Eat Your Backyard. Thank you.